Loblaws is trying out a new ultra-discount grocery store format based on its no-name generic brand. The first 3 outlets will open in 3 Ontario communities next month, and they'll feature significantly pared-down products with no refrigerated meat or dairy, for example. Loblaws says they will offer prices up to 20% lower than nearby discount competitors, including its own no-frills stores. Let's get more from Bruce Winder, retail analyst and president at Bruce Winder Retail. It seems fascinating. I mean, these stores will be dominated by generic products, store brand products, for example.
Yeah, it's a real departure for Loblaw, with this new no-name concept test pilot. I mean, they're going to have 1,300 products versus 7,000 and no frills. They're going to have shorter operating hours, no frozen, like you said, used and recycled fixtures. So they're really taking whatever they can out of the business from a cost standpoint in order to be able to hit the aggressive pricing they're signaling.
It reminds me a bit of Aldi and Lidl, the deep discounters in Europe. I can't remember. I think Aldi has put a toehold in America, but they're dominated by generic goods as well.
Yeah, that's another part you mentioned too, is the private label mix, right? So 60% of these new test stores are going to be either President's Choice or No Name. And yeah, that takes a page from other retailers like Aldi who use private label just to offer really good value for the customer.
Do you think it will work?
Yeah, great question. I have a feeling it's going to work. We don't know for sure, right, until it's through a test, but I think there's an appetite for it, because there's a certain segment of Canadians who've had a real hard time. They might be seniors, they might be unemployed or underemployed, students, and I think this really talks to them.
That's right. I mean, some people, I don't know how some people live, given how the high cost of so much these days. Interestingly, you say this could be a threat to the real deep discounters like Dollarama or Giant Tiger.
Yeah, you know what? Dollarama has really picked up some business in the grocery area since the pandemic. Now, as you know, Dollarama doesn't sell fresh or frozen. It's all canned goods and box goods. So I have a feeling that this might give them a run for their money, as well as Giant Tiger as well.
Yeah, I was in a Giant Tiger a couple of weeks ago in Picton, Ontario, and they did have a bigger food selection than I thought. Not as wide as a full-service supermarket, but they do offer quite a bit of stuff. It's interesting. Shorter operating hours, I guess that keeps your costs down 10 to 7. I'm trying to think. That will be a bit inconvenient for people, but fewer weekly deliveries and no dairy or meat. That interested me. I mean, some people might say, well, I want to buy dairy or meat. I'm not going to go there. I don't want to make multiple trips.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's one of the assumptions Loblaws is making, is that Canadians in this value segment, ultra value segment, will be okay with making trips to different stores. Now, they're currently doing that with Giant Tiger and Dollarama, right? Because I don't think I know Dollarama doesn't have protein, doesn't have fresh, so consumers are already doing it for that chain. So I guess it's a bit of a leap to say, okay, we're hoping they do it for the no-name banner as well.
And I do like it. I think we have some Viz. I mean, they've been around for years. I think they were one of the world's first retailers to develop a comprehensive store brand program. I'm not saying they were the first, but I think they were something of an international leader, Loblaw.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if you look at what they've done with private label, particularly President's Choice, No Name, essentials, everyday essentials, they're what I would call best in class in terms of managing control label and really turning a private label into a national brand. As you look at President's Choice, the equity President's Choice has.
I am so stingy that I shop discount because food has become so expensive. Do you think the future of the full service supermarket with a wide range of products and some more deluxe items but higher prices is threatened in Canada? Is the industry going to go more and more discount?
I think that you're going to see full line grocery continue. It's really, but it might shrink just a little bit, and that's what Loblaws and the other grocers have signaled. They've invested more in the discount banners because that's sort of how our demographic is changing and has changed over the last few years. So I think full line will always be around, but it'll cater to a little more of the affluent consumer.
I do remember reading years ago that we're very lucky in Canada because we have a lot of newcomers. We have a high immigrant component to our population. And like, I'm using sweeping generalizations, but this analyst thesis was a lot of these new arrivals in Canada, they still cook themselves. They expect fresh food. And that means our discount stores are great. They offer a decent, very good food and vegetable produce.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's a big trend. A lot of folks are cooking at home, not just newcomers, even folks who've been here, just because it's a little expensive in the restaurants. So, and that's where sometimes they'll use sort of a secondary, maybe a local market, a local produce market in the neighborhood to augment, sort of what they're buying at some of the banners with just dry goods. But yeah, definitely, the no frills of the world is still a very important piece of the Loblaw puzzle in terms of where Canadians are shopping right now.